Hello, and welcome back. Memory Monday number 4 already. Today, yet alone, but I hope Simon will join me here in a couple of minutes for this Memory Monday and talking about memory stuff, memory sports, memory training, and so on. And yeah, last week I did some GeoGebra stuff, and I was also saying that I would like to memorize the US area codes again. I will talk about that maybe next week again or in 2 weeks. I don't know. Next week it might be another guest. But yeah, I got a nice review from Nelson about my GeoGebra video last week and about having tried to learn the area codes. That was very interesting because he was mentioning that he was in contact with one of the best GeoGebras in the world, and he did even invite that guy to the Kilimanjaro trip. It was really cool to see that. There's a video of that also online. I will link that to my YouTube video under that. If you watch it on video here, you will find that there. And he was also doing the area codes a bit in a different way than from me, but yeah, it was very interesting. And I definitely want to discover that even more, and we'll do some GeoGebra stuff in the future. And for today, I would like to start again with checking out Memory Leak as usual. The usual start, I'd say. Let's see what do we have here. So what we have is what happened last week was season 23 was finished finally between Simon and Alex. And Alex won in a very entertaining match here, close one, especially in the first set. Simon gave a great fight as well. And it was it was a close match. Alex in the end won that and is now the, I don't know, 9-time season winner. So yeah, that's kind of a statement already. And one thing I always mention here, because people tend to forget, me as well, is the Asian Oceanian Open will start soon. The registration is still open until July 28th. So if you see that here on YouTube and it's not July 28th, 2025, then you still have a good chance to go to the Asian Open or to register for that. Only 55 people have registered yet. Not only, but at least already 55, I'd say. And that's really cool. So go on Memory League, click this post link here, and then you will get to the specific post. League season 78, I'm not sure about it yet. Simon is here. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
Cool.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, so Memory Monday is something I just created a couple of weeks ago. So it's number 4 right now. First guest, Simon Reinhard.
Welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome as well. And I was just talking about Asian Open registration deadline next week. So everyone who wants to still register for the Asian Oceanian Open for the qualifiers can still go for it for one more week on Memory League.
28th.
Yes, exactly. There is a link on Memory League webpage, and then you can go and register for that. Have you done that already, Simon?
Sorry?
Have you already registered?
Absolutely. First page.
Okay, great. So then you are already qualified through due to the mode, but everyone
Yes.
has a chance to qualify. So
Yes.
with this nice qualification system. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool to see more people joining us there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and one last thing before I go
Before you end the session.
before I end the session, no, before I go further, I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention for the people here, I just launched Memory Sports TV Uncut on YouTube.
Uncut.
Uncut.
Oh,
That means
with all the gore and blood and everything, or what?
everything will be up there.
All of the curses and
all of the curses,
all of the strange things.
all of the desk punishment is there. So
what is usually cut? Is there even cut content?
There's a lot of cut content on Memory Sports TV. Short clips, interviews, and so on. But uncut will be every match or all matches I have recorded will be up there without any cut. So you can rewatch it.
including all the ear checks.
Oh, of course, only on the ear checks. I never have the ear checks on the live footage. So
Yeah,
you
I
can
think that
just
should stay like that.
rewatch it. And I mean, you have beautiful ears, Simon. So don't worry about
Thank
that.
you.
You're
Thank you. You're
welcome.
not the first person to say that. So that confirms
That's interesting. I'm not the first
everything.
person to say that.
Absolutely.
Okay, good to know. That's good. So are already at least two people saying that. So yeah, um, cool.
You never
So
know.
Simon, thank you for joining me here today. What's up? What's new in your memory world?
In my memory world, lots of things are going on. We are in the final stages of opening the registration for the World Championship, which would be super cool. And there we are at the moment. We will there. There will be around 400 people from what I know who can register, and there will be some deadline for non-Indian athletes to register, like 150 until a certain date. And there will also be this time, in order to help the arbiters, there will be for certain athletes there will be mandatory digital participation. So if you intend to do more than 3,500 points, or if you intend to do a world record, you have to take part digitally. There is no choice there. And the reason is that all of our tournaments are mandatory digitally anyway. Yeah, so the World Championship is the big exception. And 2 years ago in India, it was like because there were so many people. But among others, you and me have put our brains together, made some brain storming, if you wish, yeah, double, triple, whatever. And that's our idea. And we hope that the athletes like it because you will get the results quicker in a way for many people. And also beware if you take part on paper and you do more than 3,500 points, then your score will be kept at 3.5. So, and if you compete on paper and you do a world record, your world record will not count. That will also be on the registration form. So watch out. Okay, I could go on for much longer, but I guess I make a break now.
And
Else I talk for 30 minutes
the
about the
regis
other memory things going on.
the registration form will be then also on the IAM webpage, I guess, or at least
Yeah.
a link will be there. So yeah, we will inform you. And yeah, talking about digital stuff, I mean, we both of us have been in memory sports since more than 20 years right now, or 20 years. I think it's your 20 years anniversary right now, is it?
Yeah. I think almost maybe to the day. I would need to look up when my first tournament was, but I think it was sometime in July. I have no idea when.
I think 2005, definitely, right? And then
Yeah, absolutely. It was in Nördlingen.
the Nördlingen. Wow. Okay, what is Nördlingen? Is it
Nördlingen is, I think it's definitely in the south, and I think it's in Bavaria. I think it's close to Ulm or so.
mhm,
And the reigning world champion, Mr. Meyer, was there, I still recall. And I
yeah.
met Florian Delay for the first time, Joachim Thaler, one of the old school greats. And it was a nice event. I tried 120 digits and I got 80.
And I think you won the competition, did you?
No.
No?
Absolutely not. I did
Okay,
not win against Clemens. I defeated Clemens two years later in Munich in 2007.
I see. But there was kind of some story about the 2005 Clemens Meyer, I'm not sure. Was there something, some background story about him and you and stuff, or is it I'm just
No,
making?
we did not talk in 2005, as
You
far
didn't
as I
talk.
recall.
Ah, okay.
No.
I thought there was something, but then anyway, 2005, long time ago, and there was everything on paper,
Yeah,
and
everything on paper.
it was, I mean, it was even 10 years ago was still on paper, and then at some
In some
point,
places of the world, it's still on paper.
it's true. But I mean, isn't it crazy to have that? Not crazy is not the right word, but isn't it really old school to have it still on paper? And I mean, as the IAM did really started in a big on a big stage. Of course, there was a memorial. Always have to mention that because they did that already in 2008 for the first time.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and then we were there in 2012. Saw that for the first time. That was really, really cool to see, was it?
That was cool.
Can you remember that situation? I think there was a lot of laptops on the table, and for us, it was
Right.
coming from the paper world. It was completely new territory.
Yeah, it was the 2005, the 2012 Memorial in Antalya was really cool. It was in this big hotel in such a nice, yeah, huge hall, and everything looked fancy. I mean, yeah, the software was for the time it was revolutionary, but um, that it of course also had like lots of smaller hiccups, but it was much better than on paper, definitely.
Yeah, and as you said, for this time, it was a huge thing. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because everyone else kind of started later. Then there was Memory Leak starting 2014, 13,
Something, yeah,
14.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that was also digital. And then the IAM actually did the big shift at some point, 2016, 17.
Something, and I mean, I can still recall it. Yeah, it was like basically Katie's private private secret project. Yeah, and I am quite sure that we were not really up to date that she was working on something, as far as I recall. And or at least just in very rough outlines. And then suddenly, from one day to the next, we are being presented with this website where you can choose everything. And the digital and analog skin, the analog skin was useless anyway because it took much too long. But the digital skin was perfect. And it was done by Katie, the digital skin, and everything else, the programming. And that was absolutely fantastic. And it opened up so many options and possibilities. And then we were simply trying it out at smaller tournaments. And then I think 2018 was the first World Championship where we had this, and it worked nicely. Really
Yeah.
cool.
And
What a great effort by Katie. Absolutely.
yeah, thank you. And she's still working on it and is
Mm.
doing a great job improving it. It will be already improved for the next World Championship, I guess. We have now this result center, some kind of
Mm,
backend
yeah.
result center where the organizers or can enter scores and you can see scores immediately without any
Yeah.
extra Excel sheet or anything like that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
I mean, I think I've never taken part in a tournament where the result center was used, but it has been used in a few tournaments and worked very nicely. I think it was already used in last year's World Championship and also in this year's French Open and also in other events and in the North German, South German, Norwex Open. And yeah, really happy. And it will be super interesting to have this at the World Championship this year in India, Mumbai.
nice. And I think there was one more part of the history for the digital stuff was Memo Camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somewhere,
Absolutely.
somewhere between there was Memo Camp. It was also very revolutionary back then,
Yeah.
and we also did use that for one or two, I don't know, competitions. Did we? I think for the
Yeah,
German
yeah.
stuff.
We used it for at least one XL competition. I think in Braunschweig or whatever, or somewhere at least. And then somehow the whole thing was a bit overtaken by the IAM software, and we felt it makes sense to go with that. But the place of MemoCamp in the digital tournament history cannot be ignored. For a while, everybody was like trading on MemoCamp, right?
It was a big platform.
Yeah,
Everyone was connected there, rankings and so on. So it was
yeah,
really cool back then. And I think it was also in Los Angeles when we have been to LA for this
yeah, right.
competition. Yeah, then we also memorized chessboards and I don't know stuff like that.
Passwords.
Passwords, yeah.
Yeah, and chess positions and whatever, yeah. The US Open of 2015, I think, right?
I'm not sure. I think there was a US Open, but there was also, or what? No, that was a Memo Games organized by Florian. And that,
Right. And then there was the US Open,
yeah,
in the
yeah.
same room, right?
Um, maybe it was both at the same time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
Yeah, I
I,
think it was both at the same time.
okay. I
Yeah,
thought
because I think we had spoken then somewhere in the room higher up, where everyone was then grouped around one small speaker in the middle of the
yeah,
room or
yeah.
so. Yeah,
After 10 hours.
that was special.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, so these old days, I mean, we have seen 20 years of memory sports, both of us. And
Yeah.
what do you think? What are your personal highlights along the way in terms of competitions and stuff?
Wow. Okay, that's a good question. I think one of my highlights was definitely winning the now called Memory League World Championship in 2014, 2016. 2016, it was also special because Alex was also taking part and he was already world champion in the classical format. And he lost in the semifinal, and then I defeated the person who defeated him in a way. So that was really a very cool memory. In the 2014 also, that time it was an invitational, I think, the top 16 in the world. But I just saw that this format is super cool. Other things, let me think. I think the cards world record in 2010, the 2190, that was really special. I think it was even my first world record, and then right away the cards record of Ben Pridmore, and I think, stood for 6 years until it was
Hmm.
broken by Alex in 2016. I mean, I improved it once, but it was, I think, one of the longest lasting world records. And Florian Deleu made such a cool video of it, which I think a few people might have seen or so. Um, that was cool. Uh, yeah, I
And
think the,
and
yeah,
what would you say? I mean, beside or next to the competitions, like traveling, all these trips and so
uh,
on. What do you say? What sticks to your mind? What is still there? What do you think? In this we went there, or this trip, or anything like that.
let me think. Let me think.
For me, one thing is definitely the big sushi style stuff in San Diego.
That's
Uh,
that's what I wanted to say.
really? Yeah,
If
very good.
if you had given me two more seconds,
I'm
I
sorry.
had said the
Yeah,
I was phrasing it in my mind, and I would have said 5 seconds later. One of the things I'm thinking back often is when we were eating sushi in San Diego, and there were these huge California rolls, and they roasted it on the table and stuff.
yeah.
That was really good. No idea why I'm thinking back to that. I mean, it was nice sushi, but it was not the best sushi in the world. But it was somehow a cool experience.
It was. It was definitely outstanding. It was like a sushi cake. It was just super huge, super big. And we had
Yeah,
like, I'm not sure, but we went there a couple of times, maybe two, three times in these
yeah.
days. That's definitely something that always comes back to me. So really
That
cool.
that like definitely, absolutely. And yeah, I would say the XMTs definitely were super special also because also of the huge effort that the organizers made, not only with like prize money, but also with um letting people come there. And then the venue was like on the top of this small hill, yeah, which
Mhm.
fully made of glass, yeah, where you think you were either going to some fancy conference or in some or in to the lair of some James Bond villain or so, yeah. Welcome, Mr. Bond. Let's test your brain or so, yeah.
Yeah,
And
really. Yeah.
everything was so cool there. So I think that's yeah. And yeah, I mean, traveling around, there were so many cool places. Yeah, I think Taiwan was super cool in 2015, but it was the only thing I was there. And yeah, London in December, of course, is special. It's really cool. And yeah, Toledo is a wonderful city, right?
Toledo was very cool as well. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We created this joint journey there, which I never
Yeah,
used.
which I think is still buried somewhere in my Google Drive and
Yeah.
which we have never used.
Yeah.
So much for role models in memory tournament preparation, right?
I'm not sure if
Um,
we have ever been role models for preparation, but
yeah, you maybe more than me,
yeah,
but
maybe,
I
maybe,
guess we both had our slumps.
definitely, yeah, definitely, yeah. And I mean, speaking about Memory League, we right now have this Memory League World Tour now rolling since 2021 already, so it's already
Mm,
year five, which is really cool.
mm.
Yeah, but what do you think? What could be for the next year, maybe could be in addition, could be a change? What are your personal thoughts? Just brainstorming here
Mhm.
about improvements of the world tour, or is it good as it is? It's also okay. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, at the moment, I think it's working out nicely, really. What I just feel is that maybe it could be a few more weekend tournaments, and maybe in the last years we were not ready for that because we didn't have a working supervisor team. But a lot of effort has been invested in like getting more than one or two people to supervise things and to check stuff and everything. And I think it should be feasible maybe next season to have like these three large tournaments, yeah, like you have in tennis, you have the Grand Slam tournaments, and maybe then you have two more middle class tournaments where you get fewer points, and maybe participation is also a bit different. Maybe only five people are set and whatever. Um, or it's maybe also a tournament only for divisions 2 to 5 or so. That there's also another option for those players to get some world ranking points. I mean, it's that might be objectively from my very subjective thing, but that's only really my own taste. Yeah, that's not to be generalized. I have more fun with the slams than with the seasons. It's hard to say why. I think it's mostly because it's such a nice, intense experience. It's like all on one weekend, and having such a season over 8 weeks or so, or how much I think it's usually 8 weeks. It is not that coherent in a way. Yeah, you have always singular matches, and some people play the matches earlier, some people play the matches later, and then the season is over. Yeah, I have more fun in the weekend tournaments, but of course, I respect that a lot of people like the seasons.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different approach. Seasons and the slams are not completely different, but quite different. And I mean, it might be for some people it's easier to fit in matches along the way, like over a course of 6 or 8 weeks. And yeah, maybe we should maybe also ask people on Out of Memory at one point what they like more, or not what they like more, but what they're interested in having. And I also feel that, for example, we for the divisions, that sometimes it's a bit like the divisions get smaller and smaller in the end of the season when people forfeit or anything like that. And um, to me, it's not. I don't like that. That if they in the end three people just finish a season in a division, it's
Sure.
a bit strange. This season, what we did in Division Five, I have to talk with Simon Orton, but it looks quite good, and I like it. So we have this one Division Five, and everyone has to play a specific amount of games, matches. I think it's great for Division Five because everyone is kind of a newcomer, and no one is really much stronger maybe than the other. And then six people qualify. That it also looks nice. It's like a big division, 70
Yeah, yeah.
people.
Yeah, it looks
Like
better than four people, right?
yeah, it is. And the cool thing is everyone who is really willing to play can play 6 matches. And if you have played 6 matches in a season in the specific time, then you have a good chance that you play though again next season. So it also forces people to play 6 matches, not just three. And everyone who does that has kind of proven that he or she is ready to do that for a season. I think
Right,
maybe what do you
right.
think about having something like that for Division 4 maybe as well?
Sounds sounds good. I mean, I
And
think it has worked well for Division 5. And yeah, as you said, it has the advantage that if someone is removed, then it doesn't crash the whole board, yeah.
and the
Or
the
yeah.
player who won against someone who drops out later can keep the win. So it's
Yeah,
not,
sure,
and
sure.
I mean the main rational against it for higher divisions is that the divisions are not equally strong then. So that, or that let's say you have one division one with 16 players, but everyone plays only 6 matches. So you would not play everyone, and it might be that someone has to play stronger players than the other. So
I mean,
that's one thing why it's more difficult maybe for the higher divisions. What do you think about that?
yeah, I think that's absolutely true, and that's like a problem because, um, yeah, it's like in other sports where people are close together. Yeah, small differences matter a lot. Yeah, and
Hmm.
maybe that's not so much the case in the lower divisions. And I mean, if you wanted to do that also for a higher division, I think the only option would be that you do it in something like a Swiss system, which means that everybody plays the round at the same time, or roughly at the same time in the same week. And then people are always paired against each other who have the same scores according to some algorithm. And because in chess, of course, if you have more than 10 people or so, you can't do a round robin where everybody plays like everybody. So that works well there. And of course, you need some kind of tiebreak in order to differentiate between people who had weaker opponents. So usually it's like that, without getting too technical, that let's say two people each have after 6 rounds like 4 points, but the one person had the definitely easier path. Yeah? Then I think in chess it works like that, that the first tiebreaker is that you sum up the points that all of your opponents have gotten
Hmm. Hmm.
at the end of the tournament. And if that is higher, then your 4 points are better than the others' 4 points. And I think that makes lots of sense. I think it's called Buchholz or so.
Hmm.
And yeah, that might be an option. The only problem I see is that it's not feasible, I think, that everybody plays around about at the same time.
Not even if you say you would have a 2 weeks window.
But then that 2 weeks window would have to be for more than one round, I think, because you cannot do it over 12 weeks. That sounds a bit too long.
Yeah, it's just some brainstorming. I mean, how many rounds would be feasible for, let's say, 12 players? How many rounds would be necessary to?
I don't know. I think usually chess tournaments have at least 9 rounds of Swiss, or I think at least seven, because due to some math, if you have fewer rounds, then the results could get too distorted.
Hmm.
So I think it only gets reliable at the earliest after 7 rounds or even after nine. So six might be a bit short. Um, I mean, it usually works like that, that you in the beginning, that you group the people according to some metric, like the world ranking.
Hmm.
And then, as far as I understood it, you split the whole thing in half. Yeah. And then it's not like at the slam that one plays the last and so, but number one from the top half plays number one from the lower half, so that you always have the same strength difference roundabout between the persons. And from round two onwards, it's according to points.
Hmm.
And I mean, if we could get all of the people to play at the same time, it would be an interesting option. Um, I don't know.
I mean, it's just, as I said, some brainstorming here. So it would definitely kind of make it mandatory that people play within a specific time window, right? Like one match every 2 weeks, for example.
For example, yeah.
And then you have the results of match one after 2 weeks, and then the results of match two after 4 weeks, and so on. Then you
Mhm.
could say, okay, let's reduce it to 2 seasons in a year.
Mhm.
That would have enough time for everyone. So
Yeah, sure.
it's just, I mean, maybe that could be also something we could think about more, because
Yeah, yeah, sure.
changing the season structure should be considered maybe at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it is at the moment a huge problem that, I mean, it is a smaller problem than it was a few seasons ago, but people are still getting removed. Fortunately, in Division 1 and 2, it's much rarer. Um, and yeah, I think it should definitely be also a minimum of time between matches at the Swiss because of the video checking requirement. If that's still a thing, then in that capacity. Because of course you need to know when a match is final. Yeah, just for viewers who have no idea, in Division 1 and 2 of Memory League, it is mandatory that you record your match. And so that you record your match so that people can see your screen and your head, your hands, and your keyboard, because there have been some hiccups in the past in that regard that should be prevented. And that also means that someone needs to check these videos and that there needs to be a deadline by which time you have to send these videos. And then you get all of these administrative overhead, which the supervisor team, the bigger one now, can manage. But of course, it wouldn't go away, independent of whether we have Swiss or something
Yeah,
else.
sure. Yeah. And I was also like doing some brainstorming and thinking about alternative match styles, call it like that.
That's what I
Um,
also wanted to talk about. Yeah.
yeah, really nice. So I can share my screen for that because I
Yes.
prepared some stuff here talking about that. Wait a second. Here it is. So yeah, it's just as I said, so some brainstorming here about what we have right now and what we could think of and how would it look like. One major thing about when I was thinking about it was time. So how long does a match take? And everything what I have here is not just it's not about necessarily about changing the slam tournaments or anything because I feel they are quite good already. Of course, it can always be changed, but that's not the rationale here. It's rather also for kind of additional tournaments that you would have a different format, which is a bit faster, maybe. So you can maybe play more rounds, for example. So what we have here right now is here on the very left. This is what we have. We have 4 sets. No, not 4 sets. Sets go up to 4 games, best of 3. So we have usually with a tiebreak maximum games per set 9, 1 minute memorization time, 4 minutes recall, and then this is an approximation I made based on experience that the pause between games is run around 130 on average. Between sets, maybe 5 minutes. So we end up with a maximum time for a match at 3 hours roundabout, and that feels quite right. Of course, sometimes it can take a bit longer, but usually it's not longer than 3 hours. That's what we have. And then I was just playing around a bit with memorization time, like 30 seconds or even 10 seconds. And in general, first of all, what do you think about decreasing memorization time, for example? What are your thoughts on that?
My first instinct is I don't like it.
Okay.
But that's just my first instinct. That's not like an informed opinion. It's like just ugh. But I think it's impossible to simulate this in your mind. You have to try it out, and
Sure.
then you can have an opinion. And
I,
sure, I
yeah,
would
yeah.
be open to try it out, of course.
Of course. It would be a huge difference to what we have right now, especially 10 seconds. But as I said, format, I think, as you said as well, testing formats, that's the next step here. And see what happens, because I feel there is potential which we did not discover yet. Pretty sure about that. Um,
Well,
also, also something like I was thinking about shorter sets. Everything is getting shorter here from my perspective, so I'm not sure if you like it, but
I hate it.
I,
I absolutely hate it.
yeah, that's great. Now we are talking. Yeah, but it's good that you prepare for my approach here already. Give me some feedback. That's always good. And the idea is for, or one thing is maybe what you don't hate is I don't know is having the 6 disciplines as 6 disciplines and not as 5. So you can choose international names and national names.
That would be part of this
Not
sets
not
up to
really.
3 or?
No, not yeah, that would be part of that. It could be also one thing we could change. We could think about changing, for example. But I go a bit further over that here. So what I
Maybe
have,
just one idea or
yeah,
thought
sure,
from
go
my
ahead.
side. But what I find, of course, an interesting thing about a set that only goes to 3. So from what I get is a tiebreak would come at 2-2, right?
Not necessarily. The
I
point
mean, if
is,
you say max games 5.
you could say there is a tiebreak at 2-2, but you could also say, okay, why not going to 3-2 for one of the competitors? So the first one who reaches 3 wins a set, even if it's 2-2, 3-2. But for example, you could say there's no reset of choices. So after the first set, for example, you could say here in this case, I have the reset. So what we do right now is we reset after each set. But you could also think about resetting after both have chosen all of the disciplines, both have chosen X disciplines, or all disciplines were chosen. Anything is possible. And you could also say, okay, the reset is not done after a set. It is maybe done after 10 games or 12 games. So it would go into the second set. You cannot choose the same discipline as you have chosen in the first set. That would make the sets completely different. And that would mean that even if the player who chooses first in the first set might have an advantage because he can choose 3 disciplines or instead of 2, but in the second set it would change and there wouldn't be all these disciplines left. You know what I mean?
Yes.
These are, as I said, I was just throwing in things here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Countless options.
countless options. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Sounds interesting.
Okay, sounds interesting. That's good. That's good to hear. And
Okay.
I just go further here. It's very radical, I know. But anyway, so there could be also
That's how we are.
we could also think about not the alternate choice, but the loser chooses the next discipline.
Mhm.
Aha. Okay. Okay. What's next? It
No,
or
no. I mean, it's like interesting, of course, yeah.
yeah. What I mean, we
I
could let's think. How would such a match then go? That's what we have to
I think quite
think through.
similar to before, right?
Not
Because
sure.
usually the people win their first choices. If like we say, okay, we have a normal match, and the only change is that the loser chooses. Usually you have only an overlap like after 2-2 or so, where both choose their middle discipline, but then it switches again. Yeah, you have these crossing graphs in a way from here, from strongest to weakest, and yeah, in the middle people are almost of the same strength. I don't think it would change much.
I was thinking, let's say you are you have your favorite discipline, you play that, but you lose that. You can immediately choose the next again.
Yeah, it is. Maybe it's also a bit of a curse, right? Maybe you don't want to choose your next discipline. Maybe you want to have the chance to break your opponent,
Maybe.
because maybe your opponent finds it super comfortable if they try to break you,
Yeah.
in particular after they've broken you first.
Yeah. Also true. Do I still have the screen share or don't see my
What would
screen?
I find, what would find
Yeah.
also interesting, how it would work out if the only rule is you cannot choose the same discipline twice.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, no restrictions. So that says
Mm-hmm.
Alex could switch between cards and numbers.
Yeah. I agree. So as we have it right now, you cannot choose the same discipline twice.
I know, but Alex could choose cards, numbers, cards, and then numbers again. See,
But
the only thing is that you cannot choose the same discipline twice in a row.
in a row. Okay.
Yeah,
But you can choose it 2 times in a set, for example, but not
yeah,
in a row.
right.
Oh, interesting. Then
I
you
mean,
would,
if we are brainstorming everything,
yeah,
then
of course. Yeah. Could be also put, or maybe, what do you think of You cannot choose the discipline your opponent has already chosen.
That's interesting. Then we would have, but then we would have a reset after 6 games, right?
Yes, yeah. That would be maybe then only 6 games would be played in some order.
But I
So
think it wouldn't be a big problem, right? I mean, it wouldn't change much. It would change only a lot if the people have similar strength, right?
yeah, true. Yeah, I think so too.
But
Because
even then, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It might. Yeah, this is hard to calculate all of this. Maybe we have to ask ChatGPT, right? Or Gemini or whatever crazy sentient or non-sentient beings are crawling around the web at the moment, right?
yeah, true. And I even have one more radical idea
Yeah, okay, tell me.
that I want to tell you. So I was thinking about pre-choices, pre-choosing disciplines. So the idea is that you have, or the idea behind is that you choose all your disciplines before the set in your order you want to choose them, and then the match is running automatically. So you have like a 30 seconds break between each game, for example, and it would run quite much faster because you cannot think about every choice after each game, or you don't have to, or whatever. It could be run automatically. It could go quite quick then in this case. What do you think about pre-choices?
I mean, I think those are two, those sort of things can also be separated, right? You can also say you choose before, but there is no automatic thing, right?
Yeah, that's true. But if you cannot really do an automatic thing if you don't choose,
No,
because
no, but I mean, you can make pre-choosing and non-automatic, and you can make pre-choosing and automatic.
yeah, both is possible. But pre-choosing would make automatic easier to insert.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the pre-choosing wouldn't change that much because I think choosing a discipline is not a large part of the strategy because usually I think I think the consensus seems to be that it's best to choose your best strategies, your best disciplines first, because um, the sets go to four. Yeah, if the sets went up to six, it might be different. You might try to play around, but if you start with your worst disciplines and your opponent starts with their best, then if it doesn't go well, you might lose the set 4-0 without being able to get what you have saved, yeah, all of the good disciplines. And I think people would simply choose their 5 best disciplines in a row because that's the best strategy. I think it wouldn't change much with regards to the automatic stuff. It's interesting. I think it just would need to have a stop button, right? If someone needs to go to the restroom or has a technical problem or so, but that should just be a technical stuff. What I also wanted to say,
Sure.
what I would find really cool somehow is tournaments where you only have one discipline. Maybe even like in form of, I know, a memory championship or a world championship or whatever. And that could be like best of two and maybe then best of five in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And like just imagine, I don't know, a cards championship
Mm-hmm.
with Alex or so, yeah, or an international names championship with like Katie or so. And you have three games in the first rounds, maybe only 16 people or whatever. And it would also be over much quicker. Yeah. I
That's
think that would be really interesting. So I would really love, for example, to take part in a World Memory Championship or so. Yeah.
that sounds also very interesting. That's true. I will take a note here. And what? Why you don't like these very short memorization times, like 10 seconds or 30 seconds? What's
It
your thought about that?
hard to say. I said it was just a first reaction, but I think my first reaction was if you make it that short, then I think you eliminate much of the memorization difference between people because then suddenly people would get an advantage who have a better grab. Yeah. And I mean, you and me, we have tried to, for quite some time, to memorize like 50 digits in under 10 seconds. And then we had it with like 8 and 7.7 or whatever. And that was in the memo camp times. And it was quite a slog. It was, you were basically memorizing 3 or 4 images, and then you were just grabbing all of the rest.
Mm.
And I'm not a big fan of the grab anyway. I know it is part of this, but I don't like to grab things in the end because it never feels like true memorization. So I think the grab would get almost equal importance to the memorization. And
Mm.
then suddenly everyone can beat everyone. Yeah, so that feels a bit weird.
Yeah, kind for that may be true for one game, but I feel that for a set it might be different again. If you have like playing up to 3 or 6 or whatever, it might equal out then. I don't know. But what I also I mean, I'm thinking of, let's say you have Memory League, and you right now you have all these games. People play games. What I like to see, or what I can imagine, is that people also play these short matches. Not just
Sure.
you can maybe choose in the beginning. I want to play a regular match, or I want to play extreme bullet super match, or whatever, and then
Sure.
it's just 20 minutes, for example. And I show you one more page here, and I
Wait,
will
wait, did you like explain everything here, or
not everything, but I go back um, to it here.
how many viewers do we like have at the moment?
Not too many, like
How many
five,
viewers have you already lost?
five. Um,
5.
we don't have many viewers here right now. No,
Okay,
that's nothing what I am worried about here. Uh,
good.
and
It's
if
just for the sake of the sport what we are doing here, not
actually
for
no
not for publicity.
yeah, we do that, but I will upload that to YouTube anyway later. So
Sure.
wait a second. Um, you see my screen again? No.
Yeah, I still see the nice orange color of
Ah,
the
you
Excel
see it
sheet.
already. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so this is the extreme version. Um, Let me show that here. You would have something like sets to 6.
Uh-huh.
Play was just one set. Have maybe 12 maximum games per set, and the 10 seconds memorization time. And then you could finish a match in 20 minutes.
Sure.
It's,
No, it would be interesting to try this.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. You could also play sets of 3, sets of 5, sets of 7, things like
I mean, we
that.
can also try it now.
Yeah, we could try that now. Yeah, doesn't make. I mean, it's a bit. Yeah, then I do training and you do training game.
Or you could do it, and I could watch,
I
and then
don't.
you tell me how it was.
I will not play
Like for
myself here.
10-second cards.
I I will not play myself here. No, 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 no. That's not good. And this was the first page here. Okay, okay, cool. I captured your reaction, and I think you feel quite overwhelmed of these ideas.
Oh no, it's okay. I think you're explaining it very well.
I don't think so, but yeah. But what are your thoughts in general of changing sets, matches, whatever?
I think it's always good to try out new things because I think the chance that the current system is the best possible is astronomically low. Huh? And so I think everybody should be open for new paths. And yeah, I mean, we have also thought about since a bit of time about new ideas for the classical format. Yeah,
Mm,
because we think maybe that the disciplines are too long in the classical format and the penalty rules are too tough for newcomers. So I am here completely on your side. New ideas are cool, and I think in order to judge how good they really are, we need some testing from some
mm,
people who would like to test. And I would definitely like to test many of those things.
yeah, good, cool. So then stay tuned. I will prepare something in the near future.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. I'm thinking of how to do that, but yeah, let's see how that looks like. Let's test that. Now, but yeah, what are your thoughts on the classical format as well? You have some ideas about getting rid of the penalty and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on
I
that?
mean, I think if somebody is listening to that, please take all of this with a huge grain of salt because it does not mean that there are any concrete plans to change any of the existing disciplines. And then suddenly we tell people, okay, well, you've trained this for years. Bad luck, buddy. But um, yeah, but I just feel that um, if you compare memory leak and the classical format, then for me personally, I'm not speaking in an official function here. I'm just speaking as a player. The classical format has no chance against memory leak. The classical format, if you compare to memory leak, is not really fun. Yeah? And I know this might be a bit of a controversial opinion because we also have a world championship lined up. And of course, it's cool, but you have to make a difference. Taking part in a world championship in the classical format will always be cool. It doesn't matter how the disciplines are because you have this very cool the very cool surroundings and you're meeting all of those people. I'm like just talking about, okay, if you have like 10, 15 tournaments in the classical format and whether this can be improved. And one thing I never liked about the classical format was the strict penalty rule. I mean, let's just think you have 6-year-old Andrew, yeah, and he is super interested in memory sports, yeah,
Hmm.
and he tells his parents, I would like to take part in the UK Open or in some other tournament. And they say, Andrew, that's cool. You're doing something for your brain and you are quite well, you're quite good here. You can memorize like 50 digits or whatever. And Andrew says, yes, I will go there and I will have fun. Little Andrew goes to the championship and he is doing the 5-minute numbers and he is memorizing and he's memorizing his brain out. Yeah? And then he writes down all of the things and he has 2 mistakes in the row of 40 digits. And then, after the recall time is over, our little Andrew looks at the screen and sees 0 points. And I think that's not fair to little Andrew.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my
But
story.
that I'm just imagining, visualizing the story while you're telling that. So like you're drawing it, and then little Andrew is going there. Yeah, it's quite can be quite fun. Yeah, true. But you could also argue, of course, that okay, then do that for beginners or for kids or for juniors, but keep it for adults who are experienced. What do you say to that?
I feel that that's, of course, an option, but I feel that the strict error rule is a flaw of the classical system in general. And I feel what would make much more sense is that you count every correct information. Of course, you would have to check how this works out with the relationship of names and words on the one side and numbers and cards on the other side. Maybe there are some strange emergent things where you might have to change something else. But in general, I feel it would be much more motivating. Let's say if you say, okay, numbers independent of the time, 5 or 15, doesn't matter, or whatever. You count every correct digit, and in order to avoid that someone is guessing, you make a small penalty, like -2 for every incorrect digit. Then you are losing still much less. And if a cell is empty, it's ±0, of course. Yeah. And I think that would make much more sense than the current rule because rows of 40 are completely arbitrary. And it only made sense in the beginning, and it was also born of some kind of very special understanding of what this should be. Like that accuracy is more important than amount, and I think that was a flawed thing from the beginning. Yeah. And I'm not sure how many newcomers we have lost because of the strict penalty rule. It's just very, very problematic. You can do the same for every discipline. You can do it for binary, you can do it for even for something like cards. Yeah. And it would allow the people to like memorize more. And I mean, I have to avoid to talk too long, but maybe one last sentence is, I mean, I know that it feels cool if you have this tightrope walk in um, numbers recall or like in cards recall, where you are able to close all of the gaps and you see, okay, I don't have a gap here. But I always felt this was unnecessarily stressful. There is competition stress that makes sense, yeah, like the thrill of competing, but you can also make disciplines unnecessarily stressful. Yeah. What this it's just I don't share this emphasis on super high accurate recall. I think
Yeah,
it's not fun.
yeah. And I mean, all we're talking about here is, as also for my Excel sheets here and so on, it's not, I don't want to replace anything here. It's additional ideas. And I mean, that could be having additional tournaments in a different format. Definitely something we can take a look into. For example, the tournaments, if you have tournaments for lower divisions like Division 4 or 3 to 5 or whatever, it kind of makes sense to give them the chance to finish matches quicker than 3 hours or anything like that. So there could be a reduction of memorization time or a reduction of sets or whatever. And for this, what you just mentioned is the same. There is no immediate need to change the format, but to test these new formats would be definitely something to do or to put on the list at some point. Maybe having a digital format first for that, so people can try it from home. Um, like you would say, okay, you can register for that tournament, and then people send in their scores or something which gives us a chance to compare what happens with that, because you always also have to think about scoring then. You cannot go with the same, I don't think you can go with the same Millennium Standard. No, definitely not. You should need change something, not sure what, but yeah, finding that out would be interesting.
Yeah, one problem that I stumbled upon when I was thinking that whole thing through is if you reduce the penalties, then all disciplines apart from names will have new penalties. Will have new scores. And it doesn't matter whether it's like words or whether it's like 5 or whatever minutes numbers. The results of the best people will be much closer together. And with the sole exception of names, where one might say that seems like a huge advantage for people who are already good at names. I mean, that's definitely the case. So, because I mean, I know that in the past people have like got 260 words in 50 minutes or whatever, and they had only 3 words incorrect. Yeah? So these people would then have 287 according to the new system. Maybe then the top 5 in words would be, I don't know, only 10 words apart. The other question is, do you want to accept this? And simply say, okay, that's a sacrifice you want to make because it's more fun. But on the other hand, what do you do with the word scores? If there's still a 500 points gap. But I think you would have just to try it out because, of course, people who are, for example, strong at words or strong at numbers would then also go for much higher scores. Yeah. And let's say, I don't know, let's say Alex goes for 5,000 digits in our numbers because he saves one repetition, then maybe at the end he has 4,500 standing there, including the penalties. And if I go for 5,000, because that's much above my pay grade, I think, then maybe I would land at 3,000. So maybe things would even out again. Yeah. And I think you just have to try it. By the way, independent of the penalty rule, I also think something like 60 minutes cards or 60-minute numbers is completely out of time. It is not it is not something that fits with that whole competition. And I'm not sure, maybe there are a few people, but I'm not sure that the super long disciplines or even 30-minute disciplines are really fun for many people. It was never fun for me, I have to admit. Yeah. It was always one of the most tedious things of a memory tournament is like the 1 hour numbers. Maybe the 1 hour cards are cool because there you have these many decks in front of you or on your screen, and if you did it right, you get them all correct. But recalling for 2 hours numbers and you always have the 40-digit rows, it can get old rather quickly, you know? And so my idea would like also be to try it out without the new penalty rule or with the new penalty rule, shorter disciplines, like 2 or 3 minute numbers instead of five, 8, 9, or 10 instead of 15, and 15 instead of 30 or so. That we really break this down also for, and there could always still be formats. Yeah, there could still be short, middle, and long format or so. But I don't think many people would really complain about it because it also makes it easier for organizers. It is less tedious. It takes away much of the fatigue at the end of a tournament, which was always a bit random. Because let's say if people are super strong at speed cards, then they are at a disadvantage because they don't have their strong discipline first. And if you make things much less tedious, much less tiring, then maybe it evens out. It's because names is always first, and that's also not cool because then the names people always can like get super fresh into the competition. And then, for example, dates people have it on the last day, yeah. So this is like always a problem. And I think one of the main things where this stems from is from that the competitions themselves are so long.
Hmm.
It also makes it more interesting for the media, but that's not the main concern.
True. And I mean, Soragon in the chat is saying, I mean, it's the same difference. Maybe it's the same difference that you have with people loving sprint and those loving marathon. Yeah, definitely can be that some people love marathon. So of course, but I'm also not sure how many are on the right and on the left side. I don't know. I
Yeah,
just don't.
I'm also not sure.
I just don't know. Maybe we could do some like poll, finding that out at some point. Making a big poll, just trying to figure out how many people are on that side or on that side. Because right now it's more or less always like the feeling of it could be that, and I feel it's maybe that people don't like it, but actually I haven't talked to too many people about it.
People also ideally should have an option to try it out. And I mean,
Sure.
you don't need a supervisor for that, and you can do it online. I think Katie has already installed the option to do online tournaments, which is a really cool function. And I think shouldn't be a big deal, I hope, to simply make some additional programming and then have like 3 minute numbers instead of five or so. And then people can also see how that feels. Yeah. And or I think for the short disciplines it doesn't matter that much, but I'm really not convinced that 1 hour memorization and 30-minute memorization is necessary for a complete memory sports experience.
Why 3 minutes and 5 minutes? So why that idea? I mean, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, for me it doesn't sound too much of a difference.
No, not three and five at the same time. I just mean from five to three. So making the 5 minute disciplines into 3 minute disciplines.
Ah, okay, but why from 5 to 3? Not.
Yeah, because everything would be like shorter. And many
Ah,
people
okay,
like
okay.
them. And there is so much to try out. Yeah, we could offer like every week like a test tournament for a year. And maybe every test tournament has like different lengths of disciplines and so on.
Mm.
And people shouldn't expect the highest quality of the memorization content, of course, because we cannot create some new sets there. But it would simply be taken from the main training page. Maybe Memory could like also help with some other data in many languages. But people just need to try it out, and then we make a poll or what, and who liked what, and also feedback in sentences. Yeah? People say, I like 3 minute because it felt quicker and whatever, or I didn't like it, it felt too short and whatever. And that's much better than having some live tournaments where this is tried out. This doesn't make sense. We have such options here in the digital age. We can let people try out everything.
Yeah, and that's also the idea here in the chat, Nico's memoir. Why not one 5 minute numbers accuracy and one 5 minute numbers was most correct? Something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The options are endless, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes it's also a problem that the options are endless. Not a problem, but um, to get things started, you have to choose something and start
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. I mean, but sometimes after you try things out, things converge also rather quickly to a fan favorite in a way. Yeah. When we were deciding to replace abstract images, then I think the opinions very quickly converged on images. It was
Hmm.
like a very natural choice, and I think it is a very good choice also. And maybe it's the same there. Maybe there's some sweet spot. I think Memory League also definitely has hit a sweet spot with the 1 minute memorization. No, this is
Hmm.
exactly the right amount of time, I feel. Yeah. Um, by the way, when we're talking about new formats,
Hmm.
um, maybe let's return to Memory League because one thing that I'm not sure whether who had the idea first. I just know that I had proposed it once. Maybe someone else also had the idea. It doesn't matter. What I would find really fascinating is to, let's say, combine your idea with the different memorization times with a choice that, let's say, matches go the same as they're going at the moment, but everybody who chooses the discipline can also choose whether they want to have their cards 1 minute, 30 seconds, or 10 seconds, or other times. Yeah, maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 1 minute 30, or whatever. Yeah, just like a medium, a fast, and a slow one. And that would give, for example, people who feel that they are at a disadvantage at numbers, because absolutely admittedly, for numbers, if you have a mistake, it can be tricky because, of course, if your opponent goes for safety and you think your opponent goes for a quick time and you go for a quick time out of your comfort zone, then of course it's harder to fill the gaps. Yeah, absolutely. But let's say if, but the only reason is because many people who are not of comparable strength can do numbers, can do 80 digits in a minute. But if you were to choose an amount that fewer people can do in a minute, then the this number person who might not feel comfortable with doing it in 80, doing like 80 digits, could choose, for example, 200 digits. Yeah. And then they would still have all of their strength, but they could exclude the fact that they were, with one mistake, with a very high chance, not winning the match. And maybe they could even do, I don't know, maybe 160, 80, and 40 for that number. So yeah, but it's just random. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And you could do the same for like cards. Let's say Alex then chooses two decks of cards. Yeah, and it would have been, it would have need to be thought through because, of course, then the recall time is a bit longer. But maybe that's like in a way worth it. Maybe it would just need to be tried how it feels if you have 8 minute recall time or whatever. Yeah. But I just feel that um, would give like a very nice amount of strategy. That at the moment I feel that these strategical elements are cool, but they are somehow um, fully explored. And that would give a whole new level of complexity.
Hmm. So would you say you can, for example, choose numbers once with one of the options? Like I choose numbers with 30 seconds and 200 digits, or you can choose numbers once with that and once with that. What do you think about this? What?
Ah, okay. I see. I see. Ah, yeah. I have made a mistake, of course. Yeah, it's not about the length of the thing, it's more about the amounts. Sorry.
Okay.
But I
Hmm.
guess that with a larger amount, um, I think the original idea was that the 1 minute remains the same.
Hmm.
But of course, you could also combine that. You could say, if you really want to maximize your advantage completely, you could say, um, maybe you could say you could either change the amount or the time.
Hmm.
Because I think if you can change both, then it might be too tough. Then suddenly, I'm like always saying Alex, but maybe say player A or player whatever, yeah, then wants to eliminate the chance that they are losing numbers, and then they choose 160 digits in 30 seconds. That would be,
Hmm.
I mean, that might also be interesting. And
Hmm.
I know there are many people who, or at least a few people who like have the idea to have fewer faces in the names disciplines, yeah? And then those people, if they, for example, those people would of course still not take, let's say, international names in the beginning of the set. But if they have to choose it later on in the set, if a chat is long, then they could go for their preferred version of like 15 faces or so. And that would make it maybe a bit more acceptable. And I feel that would maybe also make the matches maybe a bit more varied, yeah? So, oh, interesting. Do you recall uh, Vishwa chose like 15-second numbers or 30-second numbers, and he got all 160 correct. That was really impressive, or stuff like that, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah,
The question is
long
then,
story short,
yeah, it's very
choice, choice,
again,
choice, choice.
something one would have to try, I guess. I'll just
Absolutely. I would love to try this.
um, and in my head, it's a bit like looking at the Excel sheet for you in the beginning. I don't like it so much in the beginning. Uh,
Why?
because to me, my thought is that I actually don't want to maximize my numbers chances to win because I don't want to win it 99%. Um, actually, of course I would like to have that, but I feel it's not interesting then anymore who wins the game because it's quite clear who wins
But it's
that.
interesting who wins the match.
Yeah, but if you know for each game, then it might not be
But you won't
interesting.
know.
Yeah,
People
I
are close
know.
together.
Yeah, of course they are. Maybe it's great, but I don't have a good feeling about it. But nevertheless, it's again you would have to need to try, of course,
I mean, I'm
to
still
get.
hating your 10 seconds idea,
I know.
but I'm
Yeah.
ready to try it.
This is not a negotiation here. Yeah, of course. I just wanted to give you my feeling about it because you were so honored in the beginning here,
Yeah,
honest to share your feeling about my 10 seconds. So I
absolutely,
just give
absolutely.
you back the favor. What I was thinking right now, just a thought to say it is you could you have this what you have proposed that one person chooses, for example, numbers with the specific amount you want to have. Um, I thought was, what if the other person could not choose numbers then in this chat set? So you have to choose that quickly because otherwise the other person chooses international names in a way that favors that person a bit more. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
sure.
you choose numbers with 200 and then the other one says, okay, he chooses numbers, but then I choose international names with 10 names only or something. So you have to be aware of that as well.
Sure,
So
sure.
yeah,
I mean, just another thing would be one person chooses the discipline, the other person chooses the amount.
that's also interesting. Yeah, that's also interesting. So I choose numbers. Okay, 200. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, yeah. And you have to then also think of, okay, what would my opponent do if I would choose that, for example? Yeah, the
I mean,
one.
you can also do it like that, that you only have uh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I think
No, no, go
I
ahead. Go
cut
ahead.
you off. I mean, you could also maybe think about uh, in such a model, yeah, or like in general with the amounts, in order to exclude that the stronger person always takes the higher amount, like the stronger person in a specific discipline, um, that you could only have a limited number of options. So you could only choose the longer discipline twice, the middle discipline twice, and the short discipline twice. But you also have to choose all of those six. Yeah. So if you choose the longer disciplines, the larger amount for some discipline, you have to be aware that later on you must choose the shorter amount.
Hmm. I feel it raises the complexity for the viewer to understand what's going on.
Yeah, but this doesn't have to be a bad thing. Just look at the rules for American football. They are completely it's impossible to understand American football from like watching, even if you're watching it for a long time. But every American completely understands everything, and it's just because they're interested in it.
Okay. I don't know about American football. I just know
You
that,
see,
yeah,
that's like proves my points.
true. Yeah, yeah. Also interesting. So, mm, what would be, I mean, if we think about testing things,
Yeah,
it's also important to think of how to test things. I mean, you can say, okay, you have to program everything, but that will extend it to whatever it takes on time. It would be also cool to have the chance to test things with a current setup, like training games or whatever, because I feel these optional things are also great, but if you have to implement that everything first, it will never happen.
but you
That's
can easily test it on the IAM trading side.
Yeah. So you mean two people would play each other, everyone chooses the amount on IM, and then you compare the results, for example.
Yeah, it would be a bit different because of course on the IAM page you also get like um you also you only you get this a specific thing of mostly you can't get adjectives and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's not a big deal. It doesn't matter, yeah. And okay, the images would be like different, but I think at least to get a feel for how it feels for like cards or numbers, that might be a nice first step, and Simon Orton wouldn't have to take a 2 weeks vacation to program things.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I have to admit I'm really intrigued by that, and not because it was my idea, but because I just feel I would really like to try it. I would like to try it, how that feels, because with the cool thing is, sure, it would be a bit more complex, but the cool thing is, starting with it's like everywhere in nature, starting with a specific level of basic complexity, you suddenly get something that you didn't expect. You get some emergent behavior, you get some emergent patterns, which are quite hard to foresee beforehand. And I think the strategies that might be involved cannot be easily foreseen and would be very cool to witness.
Hmm. So what is the suggestion? Having a fun tournament for like one set for everyone, or how would it look like? So if you would write it, or if you would have to write it down, what would be your note points here for that first test?
Yeah, I think that many of your proposals are testable at the moment, definitely by way of the custom times, and then people just compare their results.
Mm-hmm.
That would be possible without having any kind of additional functionality.
Mm-hmm.
I think basically all of your proposals can be tested like that on the memory leak page, because you never have more than one memorization time, right?
Yeah.
And you never have a higher amount.
Yeah.
With the amount changing proposal, it would be a bit more, it would be a bit trickier, but maybe it would even not be that hard for Simon Orton to simply give the option to have like twice the thing. I'm not a programmer, but he would need a second number screen. He would have something to skip between and to have marking for both. Maybe it's complex, I don't know, but he would in a way have all the assets ready. It would just need a few more programming extension, and then people could do the same. Let's say we can have like 160 digits in like custom training mode, then people could also test this out.
I mean, people could test that on IEM anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, sure. I mean, people
uh,
could like easily test this
I mean, we
on
could set up like exactly what you said, like calling it a memory leak match, but
yeah, sure,
testing it on IEM because you just
sure,
need
sure,
the platform.
sure.
It's definitely
Yeah,
there. It's very easy because you can set the time, you can set the amount, everything's
yeah,
possible.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I mean, you can do it in words, cards, and I think names is halfway acceptable. Maybe we could simply upload the names set. Maybe you could ask Simon Orton whether he can provide some name sets so that we could have national and international names.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
that's.
don't know.
I'm not sure how easy it is to get it in, but
We would have to ask Katie
yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's easy or not, but I guess just having like a separate mode of like maybe there could simply be a separate mode on the training page, like Memory League names, Memory League national names, Memory League international names, and then you would get different names.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking would be also cool if, as long as you have to rely on many other stuff, it's hard to get things started. That's always the problem, I guess.
Right, right,
So
right. Yeah, right. I mean, you could start right away. That would just be when like things are rolling. But we could simply ask people to do some matches there. I don't know whether it would be in the form of an official tournament. Maybe that's more motivating. Maybe
yeah.
we
Hmm.
just make a tournament over like a few weeks or so, and people would have like a real bracket, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
bracket on Memory League, and then people arrange their matches.
Mm-hmm.
And but the matches would be played on the IM side, and the only disciplines available are like, I don't know, are the ones that make sense.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Also a good idea. A lot of ideas. That's great.
Yes,
Thanks for sharing your ideas
so
here.
many ideas.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. It's a lot of stuff, but in general, I would summarize that we already have a great format, but there is of course a lot of potential, and that's cool to talk about that a bit more. Even though I feel a bit like now we have so many options that I have to get to bed and make my brain sleep over it. It's
Sure.
it's a bit.
Better than not sleeping at all.
Sorry.
Better than not sleeping at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, Simon, anything else you want to talk about today?
Good question. Yeah, for people who are interested, there will be the Japan Open in the beginning of August,
Hmm.
which is very cool because Takeru Aoki has organized this with the great help of Colin Russell, our main arbiter. And I am sure this will be a great tournament. I think registrations is already closed, or the places or the spots are full, but it will be nice to see a memory tournament in Japan. And from what I know, Niklas Manson is also in the stages of preparing the Norwegian Open. Um, I don't know much about the current status there, but I think it is planned for the same weekend of the Slam, like in the beginning of September. And might be very interesting for people in Scandinavia or also Europe or also around the world. And yeah, of course, there is the German Open in the end of September, which will be again in Paderborn. I don't know whether registration is already open. I assume it will open soon. I don't know, but I guess it should be open soon because they also need to know which stuff to translate. But I intend to go there. I hope it works out, and I think you also intend to go there, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely to the German Open. Are you going to Japan or Norway?
No, no, no,
Okay.
I don't.
Well,
I would like to, but it doesn't work time-wise for me.
yeah, it's
I
quite a
mean,
quite a
the
trip as
Norwegian
well.
Open doesn't work because of the slam,
True.
and Japan simply doesn't work time-wise, and also due to other things. I mean, it's a huge trip, and but I would have loved to go, but it doesn't work out.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, then we will definitely meet at the German Open this year. And yeah, Simon,
You lead by one German championship, right?
yes, just one German championship, so you can just close it, the gap
Yeah,
again.
those guys up here are a bit lonely. They want their big golden brother.
The gig golden brother. Can you see? No, you cannot see it on my. It's on the left side. Yeah, the
They
go
like
the
asking me every day, where where is Pete?
Pete. Okay.
Pete, the golden trophy.
It didn't tell me its
Then I
name,
say it's in Magdeburg, and they say, is that far? I say, yes, it's very far.
and then they say, bring it back, please."
Bring it back, Daddy. And then I say, I will do my best.
Yeah, yeah. Last year I was bringing it to Paderborn, but you haven't been there, unfortunately. So
Unfortunately,
I
huh?
took it back home. But this year can be a close one again, hopefully. I don't know.
Hopefully.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have will ever start the training, which I announce every week that I
I
now
think you
start
already
my,
have started training.
yeah, 6 attempts in dates, 1 minute dates in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I did that.
I have not done anything.
Okay, then I did more, but it doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like too much. I also have to train my card system, my new card system.
Oh,
Uh,
what? Tell me about
it's
it.
it's not new in terms of what I do, like having variable cards on a location, but the phonetics are different. So I changed the phonetics to have shorter words because that was always
Ah,
something what was bothering me. That I have sometimes words like Behauptung or something, and that
it's
was
cool.
yeah, I don't like it. It's a
Okay.
lot. I need shorter words, and now I changed it, and now I have
But it's a
shorter
nice
words.
round word with deep vowels.
It
Very nice
is,
character.
but it's so long, and if I pronounce it in my head, then it takes too long. It's just not.
Okay.
It's
Fair.
I'm very slow
No, you are not.
in my head. Sometimes yes. So
I will not admit that you are slow in your head. Sorry.
okay, you don't have to. But
Yeah.
anyway, so that's something I definitely want to train because
Yeah.
it be great to have this running. So I take this meeting again here as a new, fresh announcement that I will start my training intensely, maybe this week,
Okay.
maybe
I
this
think
week.
that's nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Best.
Are you going any plans of going for more training or you don't have time?
I mean, I think I definitely would like to train for the German Open,
Okay, yeah, that's
and I definitely have the intention to train,
mhm,
and I might even make a training document
mhm.
in order to enhance my preparation, and then I just need to start. It's super easy.
It is. I mean, creating this spreadsheet, which is always nice, training schedule and everything. Then leaving. I think when I look deeply into my laptop, I will find a couple of.
So I thought you say when I look deeply into my soul,
No, no,
I
no.
don't see any motivation.
There. Okay, that's interesting that you read this out of my mind. That's very interesting. But I
No, no,
meant
you never said it. You never said
no,
it.
no. But you felt that I would have said that. That's very interesting. What
No,
I wanted to
no.
say is, if I go deep into my laptop data, I
Ah,
will find maybe 5 or 6 training diaries, which are all empty, and which with a name like, okay, 2022, new start, 2023, training starts now, and so on, and then you look
uh,
something like that. So I have a couple of them. That's a bit funny sometimes. Yeah, maybe I start a new one. Fresh
I
start.
mean that's why I stopped giving my to-do list names because in the past it was always very important things to do soon, things. And even things didn't work. So now I just open my phone, I open the Note app, and I just make some bullet points. And it doesn't have a title, and this works nice.
Cool.
Honestly. But like if you have things to do, daily tasks, daily plannings, plans for the future, plans for the future version 2.0. It's not ideal.
What I did start recently, last 3 weeks, was using time tracker for what I do. So
Okay.
I have a actually it's working hours on Windows.
Uh-huh.
It's a tool which is comes with Windows, and I
Uh-huh.
just use it to track the time I use on specific tasks. For example, creating content for YouTube or doing some work for something different. I don't know. For even
Yeah.
private orga like organizing private stuff like transferring money or sports stuff like doing physical sport and so on. This I try to track everything right now, all these big tasks which make sense in my life. So I don't track played 5 hours of PlayStation 5. I don't track that because I mean it doesn't make sense as well, but it does not is not so effective to bring myself to develop myself, I would say. So and that really helps me since 3 weeks because sometimes
Okay.
I have this I'm working on something. I try to figure out how to get a dashboard running, for example, to create nice stats
Uh-huh.
or something. And that
Yeah.
takes me like 3 hours. And I work on
Uh-huh.
that. And in the end, I have nothing. And then I feel like,
Okay.
what did I do? And then I can take a look on my timer and say, I worked 3 hours on that. I have no result, but I have done something. I tried it. So there is a result, and that helps me. That definitely helps me. In the evening, I see,
Good.
okay, I worked. I worked. There's no result, but I did something. That helps.
That's
Yeah.
that's very good because in the
Yeah.
end, you just need to find the thing that works for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very much like with like memory techniques, right?
Mhm.
What I tell people in every course, yeah, courses, by the way. What I tell people often is, yeah, I mean, I can give you some like guidelines, but if something works for you, then it doesn't matter what I say. If it works for you, then it works. And that's the same here. It doesn't matter whether it's like in some book or whether you found it out yourself. I always say if something works for me in order to get something done, then I use it.
That's good. And I feel that I need to change the system every 6 months because that works for me. And that's,
Ah,
it's, I need fresh, something fresh. So,
okay.
Simon, thank you very much. And yeah, as Simon said, you can get in touch with Simon as well. What's your website? What's your website?
Schoolofmemory.com.
Schoolofmemory.com. You can get in touch with Simon. He gives courses, by the way, and I will link the
Memory courses.
memory courses, by the way.
Memory courses for
Yes,
everything.
for everything. So if you want to memorize, I don't know, dance moves, I
If
think
you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, or if you want to be a memory sports guy, or if you want to learn languages, just visit the page, pay for my course, and I will reply.
pay. Okay, that's
No, you
good.
cannot pay on the page for my course, but you can write me a nice mail and I can tell you more. And that's enough with the advertising.
Thank you, because otherwise I have to put this YouTube video on it.
Cut me off or what?
No, I have then mark the option. There's advertisement in my video, and I don't want that. So
Oh, okay.
just fine.
No.
But thank you anyway. I will link you. And Simon, it was a pleasure to talk to you. Was as always
Absolutely the same. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
very fun, very much fun. And yeah, see you soon. Have a nice evening, and
Same.
thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. And everyone else, thank you as well for watching. I will go right now. Thanks. And as always, until next week, keep on memorizing. Bye bye.
Memorizing.